What if I told you you can make six figures, actually $100,000 plus per year from a YouTube channel with less than 20,000 subscribers? Well, today, people are saying that you have to have millions of followers and millions of subscribers. Well, in this episode, I'm going to share with you everything that I've learned over the last 15 years and doing that exact thing multiple times.
So if you were to start over today, what would you do?
Well, actually, I would start with the very first thing, and that is...
All right, so you've been on YouTube for over 15 plus years.
Yep.
You've had multiple channels, probably at least 4, maybe more channels. And of that, the one we're going to be talking about right now in the beginning that kind of jump-started everything for you, I think it only capped out at 16,000 subscribers.
16. Yeah.
And how many years did that generate six figures for you?
Multiple years. I would say probably 6, maybe 7.
Yeah, that's insane. And again, only 16,000. And what was the niche, by the way?
The niche was in the photography niche,
Okay.
and it actually was very niche-y.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that because some people say you can't make 6 figures or a sizable income on a small niche, and you can.
So I guess this is kind of where we relate this to like business and stuff as well. So like when you started this, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, when you started that channel, it wasn't in the intent of I'm going to make a bunch of money online from putting this out there.
No.
There was another plan you had for it to see if it worked. At the time, YouTube wasn't really that big. People weren't going on there putting stuff out there to try to grow their business or anything. They were just putting out content, right? So like what was the reason that you're like, you know what, I have a photography business, I'm going to start posting videos on YouTube? What was your reasoning back then?
Well, yeah, it's interesting because we just celebrate, I say we, the YouTube platform just celebrated its 20th birthday.
Yeah.
And I actually started about 16 and a half years ago, if we want to get real. Because my very first channel, which we can talk about that because some people don't realize that, you know, you think you just start something and then all of a sudden it just works. And that's not the case. Actually, we had something bad happen, which we can share that. A huge lesson that I learned. But I kind of went backwards after a year of building a channel.
Gotcha.
So we can talk about that. But the first thing that I really wanted to do, and again, I was green. I didn't know about online business, and online business was fairly new at that time. But I just was starting to follow some of the online gurus at the time who they were just beginning to be gurus. And the one in particular was Jeff Walker. And Jeff Walker he's still the product launch guy. And it was my first course that I bought that actually taught me that building the audience was the thing that was going to allow you to be able to potentially sell something online. But you kind of know. My first go at selling stuff online was on eBay. You know, so that was just selling like something to someone looking for something to buy on eBay. But the reason I started that channel was I wanted to try this online business thing. And I knew that if I didn't know it at the time, I know it now, but I knew from what I was hearing that if I built the audience and I delivered value, that they would possibly buy from me. And so I was just in the beginning, not thinking about what I was going to sell. I was only thinking about building the audience. And I think that helped me because I wasn't in the beginning thinking I got to make a whole bunch of money. It was more of like, can I get people to pay attention? Can I get people to follow me? And we're talking like really, really old school kind of videos. You know?
Well, I was going to say, like, what type of videos were you making at that time? Do you remember?
At the time, I was teaching people Photoshop. It was, I take that back. I think my very first video that I did, and I think this goes for anybody to this day, the exact same thing that we would do that I would do again is share why you're starting the channel, kind of like a trailer, but in a sense, just letting people know a little bit about you, but more importantly, the story of how you got from where you were to where you are. So my first video was talking about how me and your mother started a photography business as I was still working full time and how we were able to self-teach ourselves, not going to college, just by reading books and starting a side hustle. And then from there, turning that into a full-time business. So I just shared that story. There was no pressure. I didn't know about, intro hooks or I didn't know about scripting or anything like that. Sure. I just sat down and I spoke to the camera and I told my story, and I had people that were commenting. I had people that were subscribing, and I had people that were just interested in how we did it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was there even ads at that time?
No.
Because you couldn't even place ads.
There was
at that
no
point,
AdSense.
Right? Okay.
There was no AdSense.
That's interesting. So you were able to grow that to a 6-figure business without even AdSense.
No AdSense.
There,
Never
right?
made a dime on AdSense with that brand.
Okay, so your first thing you're talking about is building the audience, right? Building the attention and all of that, which is part of our ARM method, which we're kind of going to be breaking down. For those of you who don't know, our ARM method is our 100K roadmap, which is literally what we've followed for. He's been following for 16 plus years or 15 plus years. And now we've been doing it on every channel, including this one right here, which is on track to hit its first 6 figures in its first year. And it's all laid out in that roadmap. It's a free download. If you guys want it, just comment 100K and we'll send you it. And we're breaking that down. So there's an ARM method in it. So the A is for the attention, the audience, which is what we're still kind of talking about right now. And then it's like building that relationship. So, okay, you're building that audience up. Obviously, you're niched down, right? So you're talking about photography, maybe people that are either beginners or people that are trying to grow and get better at their craft of photography, right? So you got that building out. When did it occur to you that you're like, I'm going to try to, and again, I don't even know this about you. Was there a lead magnet that you had at that point?
Didn't know much about the email list building.
So when you build anything, okay, as far as like, okay, it's great that you're getting people to watch your videos, but there's no AdSense, right? So there's no money there. What made you think like, okay, there's something I could probably sell online that people might buy? And I know you said you dabbled with eBay, so I know that probably plays a factor in it a little bit. But how did you say, okay, I have something I can sell in photography and put that online?
Well, okay, so the first thing I think we got to go back a little bit in that, building the attention, like that's all I was focusing on because I was following this guy, right? I was following Jeff Walker, which by the way, I met Jeff Walker at a mastermind that I paid. Gosh, I think that mastermind wasn't that expensive. I say that expensive. It was still probably around $6 or $7 grand, but that was a highlight for me. And that was probably 6 years ago. And I met him, I got a picture with him, got to tell him my story and all of that stuff. But he was the guy that I was following that was like, get the attention. And then, yes, you're going to have that product. But to answer your question, like it was fairly early that I did start building the email list because that's how I was going to sell the product. I wasn't going to sell the product through YouTube.
Yeah. So how did you build at that time? Because I know that they weren't teaching what we're doing now, which is, hey, comment this or do that. Like there was none of that.
No.
So like, and again, it's early stages. So you got to think at that time, not a lot of people are doing this anyway. So you're a little bit ahead of some people. So like, how are you collecting at that point?
Well, I was collecting it very much the same way we're collecting it now, as far as like the tool, right? The pieces, the parts. It was basically at that time, because I didn't know what I was going to sell. And remember, we were very niche down. So I want to also clarify that, like we were in photography, which could be wedding photography, that could be landscape photography, that could be pet photography, could be all of those different things. We specialized in family photography and kid or children, newborn infants. And that's really what we specialized in. And so we really went niche.
And let's pause for a second. I want to talk about that a little bit, because there's one thing that I think nowadays, because there's so many content creators out there, you hear a lot of gurus say like, oh, don't niche down too far. You want to have it broad because then you'll hit a bigger audience, this and that. What's your thoughts on that now in today's time? Are you niching down a little bit? Are you staying broad? Like, I mean, I know what your answer is going to be, but as far as that, right? Let's say you want to go in photography. Okay, are you just going to talk about all the basics of photography, or are you going to find an angle into that?
No, you'd want to find an angle. So for me, like I'm just using an example. If you were going into photography and let's say that you specialized in drone photography. Now you're going to specialize in just drone photography. Now we can niche it down even further and go drone photography for realtors. So now we're going to help drone photographers who are helping realtors. So now we've niched it down a few levels. So now my content is going to speak directly to those people. And I know that realtors want to sell their home and they're going to make a pretty good amount of money on that commission. So they'll want to either learn it or they'll want to hire someone.
So now, and I'll say this too, like when you niche down, right, yes, you're probably not going to have any videos go viral.
No.
There's a chance they could, but they probably won't. Micro viral maybe, which is what we aim for, which is like, 10,000 views, around that range. But when we don't go viral, okay, a lot of people are like, I want the most views, right? That's gonna. We saw it firsthand. If you attract the wrong views, it's honestly not good. Like, it's not your target audience. So like, I'd rather have, and this is totally transparent, I'd rather have 1,000 views with my targeted audience on a video than 100,000 views on just broad all over the place, right? Like, I would take that all day. But you could right now debate with someone right now and they'd be like, oh, I'd rather have 100,000 because, maybe 10% of that, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to, you're probably going to get 1,000 people out of that. It's going to be the same thing. So why are you stressing over the 100,000 view video when you have the 1,000?
And
right?
it could hurt you in the future because those people that came in, we've got one of our students.
Yeah.
It was Mike, I believe, right? Is it Mike?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Yep.
And so he's a singing coach, a vocal coach, and he helps people sing higher. So there we go. We niche down, right? Singing, the type of singing, right? So he had a video that he did a reaction video to on a very popular song.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the song. But he went viral. It was like 1.7 million.
Yeah.
And he gained like 30, 40,000 subscribers. But then his next video that he was talking about how to sing a high note got like 300 views.
Yeah.
And because the audience that subscribed was looking for more reaction videos, not for the ones that he wanted to create. So you almost have to take the ego and set it aside and say, I don't care so much about the views. I care about the quality of the views and are they going to be the right ones? So to answer your question, like, you can start narrow and then start broadening it out. So we look at these as like categories. So again, using that example, photographer, then we go drone photographer, and then we go drone photographer for realtors. Well, now we can go also drone photographers for fill in the blank. What else would it be? Roofers. We just had a roof put on here. They use drone footage.
Yeah, it's true.
So now we go into that angle. So you're like, you're niching, but then you're also allowing it still to be your umbrella is the photography.
Yes.
Right.
Like, that's like your main hub, and then you kind of got branches coming out of that.
Yeah. So you could always do that. Like, we've got someone in our 1K collective who we helped him, and he was, he's building a farm, and he's building a farm, and he wants to just vlog about him building the farm. Fine, great. The problem is that it's so broad and there's not one angle. So, he wasn't getting any traction. So then he had a video that was talking about chickens, and it did better than any of his other ones. So we're like, go down that road temporarily to build up the audience. Because if people are raising chickens, they're probably into, other things around the farm.
Yeah, homesteading, any of that.
Anything of homesteading. And so, but that's a challenge, because then people are like, well, I don't want to be pigeonholed into a certain area. And I get that, but as long as it's underneath your umbrella, you still should be okay, because you have to look at the momentum that's happening from that.
I also think too, when we talk about pivoting and stuff, like, that's something that is an easy pivot if you think about it, right? If you have your main hub, right? So let's go back to the drone, right? You're talking about drone photography, and then you got realtors, and you got, roofing, and you got freelance. Like, you got all these. Like, okay, let's say I was just known for the realtor stuff, right? Like, if I pivot to this one, it might take, maybe a month of me putting consistent content out of that target. But the thing is, it's still about drone stuff. So even some of these people from realtors, they might be like, I still probably might get some value out of it. I'm still going to kind of see that, right? Rather than saying, I went from drone photography to now I'm going to talk about iPhone photography, right? Like, even though it's still under photography, and that's a bigger pivot,
right? Rather
than the main hub is your drone photography or whatever. And then I just have demographics or businesses off of that are around the same realm, but just a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're building that audience up. So let's go back to that. You niche down to photography, newborn, and what was the other one you did? Not newborn.
Well, it was just it's family photography.
Family photography, yes.
But it's basically kids under, I would say, 12.
Yep.
And then we also then, again, talking about opening up the niche, then we went into senior photography. And I don't mean seniors like in like 50 plus.
No,
I'm talking, like seniors that are going to graduate.
Yeah.
So we added that piece in there.
Yep.
So then we had engagement photos that we would do. We wouldn't do weddings, but we would do engagement photos. So there are some things that we were able to bolt on, but our primary thing, and this goes for anything, right? Like, that's not even the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That's talking a brick and mortar business.
Yeah.
So we niched down so we could be the winner in our area for kids photography. And then we started started to say, people say, do you guys do engagement photos? Do you guys do weddings? We don't do weddings, but I got someone that I refer you to. And then they would trust us, and then we would refer them. We didn't get a kickback on that, but those wedding photographers, they would then tell people about us for their newborns.
Yeah.
And so it was like, so niching down is really, to me, like a really undervalued thing that I think people have to start paying attention to. And that is what allowed us to build that audience, even though it wasn't a big audience.
Yeah. And I want, the viewers out there, audience, I want you guys to, like, as we're going through this story of yours, I want you to kind of workshop your own stuff, your own content.
Absolutely.
Right now. So like right now, like I want you to look at your niche and say, okay, I know what my niche is. It's this, it's X, right? But it's very broad, right? How can I niche that down a little bit? And then take your 5 angles out of it and then say, okay, I want to focus on this one because I have a little bit more expertise in this. I'm going to talk about this, right? And then start going into that. If you guys want to, you can just comment it down below. I'm curious what your niche down niche is.
Yeah.
And let's see you kind of do that. And as we go on this journey right now, I want you to pull out as much of this as you can. So I want you kind of going along with us. If you got to take the notepad out, whatever, write this down. Like, yes, we're going through your story, but we're also trying to bring this so it can apply to you guys. So, okay, beautiful. We niched it down. We talked about that, building the audience.
We got to go back to the piece we kind of skipped over, which was the email.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, go back to the email.
How was I doing it? Okay. And so here's how we were doing it back then. Very similar to now. We've changed it a little bit, but the components are the same. So at the time, because we didn't have something that we were leading people to, because we didn't have anything, and all we were told was, build the audience in that niche, and then you'll figure out the product stuff later, which we did. But at first it was like, hey, if you would like a free PDF on how, the 5 things that we did when we first started, or the 5 things that you must do when you start a photography business, I didn't say click down below. I just said the link's in the description, and that was it. Or we might even threw the link up on a lower third. Yeah. And that was it. So at the beginning, it was like, hey, if you want to get, and actually now that I'm thinking it through, actually the very, very first one I think is, hey, I'm thinking about, I did do this. I'm thinking about in the future putting together a PDF that'll basically go through everything from the beginning to where we are today. And we're thinking about releasing this. And if you would like a copy before we release it, just go ahead and go to the link. And we gave them the link, and then they went to a landing page. That's all that we did. And we do it now. And the landing page would say, if you want the how to get started, your how to start your own photography business in whatever the year was, put your name and email address. Yeah. And then they would do that. And we didn't even give them a deliverable at the time. They were just put on a list that when we had it ready, we would give it to those people. And that's what we did. And I think that's how we collected our first probably like 300 or 400 subscribers, email subscribers. Yeah. And mind you, when we did launch, and I know we'll get to it, we had under 1,000 people that were on our email list when we did our first launch, which we'll get into, which is probably going to blow some people's minds on how much we generated from that. Yeah.
And I think it's good to note too, right? We talk about this as content creators, but just anyone in general as far as patience, right? So when you started, okay, you created content, there wasn't a lead magnet yet until probably you got a good amount of views coming in, or I say views, but just, consistently people coming in, right? Yep. Then you dropped a free resource. Okay. That's very key. A lot of people from the jump, because I know we've worked with a lot of students of ours that they have a book they're selling, but it's a paid book. They don't have a free resource yet. So they're just trying to sell that out. And it's like, whoa. Like, imagine this. You go, I come to your video, right? Never met you before. Don't know who you are. And then the first thing is, hey, I got a $10 ebook. Go buy it. You're going to go want to buy that from you? You barely know me, right? But number one, let's say you've binged all my videos. Not once did I ask for you to buy anything. Instead, I said, hey, if you want more, you like what you're seeing, I actually have some free stuff for you, comment, whatever, right? Now you're building that, again, relationship, right? Which is the R in the ARM method, right? Building the relationship, but you're also building that trust in that, that KLT, and know, like, and trust, because now it's like, they don't want my money. They're just trying to help me out more, right? And that's what you were doing early on. Like you were trying to help them out best you can and giving them these free resources. And then ultimately, yes, are you getting something in return? You're getting an email. But the reason I'm bringing all that up is because I think a lot of people look at end part first, which is, okay, I need to sell something, right? But correct me if I'm wrong, when you dropped the lead magnet, you didn't really know exactly what you were going to be selling after that.
No.
All you were doing was, I need to get emails because, Jeff Walker was like, I need to collect emails because then eventually down the road,
that's how you're going to build trust and loyalty and reciprocity and like all of those that he calls them mental triggers. Is that's what he called them.
And there's one thing too, I think if we're talking about email, we just got to talk about this this is a great point you brought up, that email will never die. Okay. So think about this. And this is why the power's in the email. If YouTube tomorrow, they said, cut the lights.
Yep.
No more YouTube, right? I don't think that'll happen.
That won't
but let's
happen,
just say it did.
Or your channel gets banned, or you get,
whatever
taken off.
Right? How are you getting in contact with all those people if you don't have an email? You're not. If you're on Instagram only, and then they drop Instagram.
Right.
If you're on TikTok, they drop TikTok. Remember the ban, that almost happened, right? Like all of that, it could be out like this. Email that doesn't happen. It's never going to happen. So that's where the longevity of it is there. If you can hold that, and then you're also going to build a better relationship with those people because they signed up to be with you, right? They want to be with you on whatever it is you have to offer, even if it's just free value the whole time.
People have been saying email every time there's like new social media platform.
Yeah.
People will just say email is going to die.
Yeah.
It's dead.
Yep.
They've been saying that for the last 15 years.
Yep.
Like literally when I was starting, they were saying like email is going to be dead.
Yeah.
Right. And then something else happened. Now with AI, they'll be like, like content's going to be dead.
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna, you're not gonna know what's real and what's not. Maybe, but honestly, like I don't believe that. But email is still a way for people to communicate. And I mean, ask yourself, are you still opening emails? Are you still getting emails? Probably yes. And I mean, we've got people on our list right now, and we know our open rates, and we're getting opens.
Yeah.
So it's like people are, and we've done product launches, and we make sales through email every single time. So no, email is not dead.
Now, do you remember what the free resource was at that time for the photography one?
Well, like I said at the very beginning, it was just like we were.
It's right, PDF.
We were going to give them PDF.
Yeah.
Then I think after that fact, after we launched our first course, which we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but after we launched our first course, now I knew what the lead magnet could be.
Yeah.
To get people in that would be potentially interested in what we were eventually going to offer them.
Yeah. So we'll get to that in a second, which is the money part. We'll talk about that as far as in the R method. So I think we pretty much hit the nail on the head with the audience attention, right? Let's move on to the R, which is a relationship, right?
Yep.
So building a relationship, I don't think enough people like really understand what that means. They think I just put content out and I'm building a relationship, but it goes past that, right? It goes, you need to be the one standing out, going above and beyond. So that's simple things. Is every time you get a comment, you should be commenting back.
Yep.
Don't have an AI bot go in there. Now, I get if you get to a certain level and you need to automate something,
right?
Sure, but even us right now on this channel, and there was times where we were getting, I mean, when we had a couple videos blow up, a couple hundred comments a day, just like insane. But anyway. I mean, we still went in and hand did everything, right? Even the links and all that, like we hand did everything because we wanted to have that, the real feedback, the real response to these viewers, because they're giving their time to comment to us. Why shouldn't we comment back, right? And then you can have a little bit of a conversation going back and forth. We're building that relationship up. So early on when you're building that email list, right? I'm assuming that was probably the biggest way you built that relationship. What was some things you would do, and what do you recommend right now that you would do to build a relationship on a channel that's starting to get some traction?
Yeah. Well, first thing is you should be posting consistently to show up. So like, forget email even for a second. Like you're committing to building the audience. You need to make sure that you stay showing up for the audience. And what I mean by that is like, you need to make a commitment. And I think this is where a lot of people fail. And this is one thing I would say, like, I'm not the smartest guy out there. Some of you might or might not know, I never went to college, barely graduated high school. But the one thing that I would say would be my superpower, if I had one, is that I when I commit to something, I'm going to stick to it for the most part. And content has always been that. So if you're going to show up every single week, and I would like you to do that right now, and let us know, when are you showing up consistently? For us, we're guaranteed that we're going to do a Tuesday live. We're guaranteeing that we're going to put a Thursday video out, and we're guaranteeing that we're going to do a Sunday podcast. That's what we're guaranteeing. Now, if we want to fill something in somewhere else, we can, but those are the hard commitments. And what that means is that our audience is going to start seeing us steadily. They're also going to start learning more about us. They're going to start saying like, oh, wow, they're committed. Like they're into helping us, you know? That's the first part. The second part of that is your community tab, which we didn't use that years ago, but now we are. And that there's a game changer for a lot of people because you are connecting with the community on another level. And then comes the email. And the email, as simple as this, is like just show up to let people know that you're posting. So, and we did a video where we said that we do not share our videos through email. And we are still committed to that. But what we will do is if there's a video that's over a week old, we give it 7 days generally because we want the algorithm to kind of do its work. But what we'll do is we will then, I don't know, a couple weeks, if we have a video that we felt like our audience could benefit from, we'll write a short little email and we'll direct them to the video. That's a great way to nurture the audience and to let them see you more because they might not have saw it. Remember, we're depending on the algorithm in YouTube. The email is not based off the YouTube algorithm. So we can show people, and then your hardcore audience will actually go watch that. And the more that they watch, they're going to then click over to another video and another video. How many times have we had someone say, man, I watched one of your videos and then I went down this rabbit hole and I watched like 10.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having that much time with someone? They're going to start to learn you, to know you, to like you, trust you, or they're going to be, I don't like these people. I don't want to follow these people. And so it's such a relationship builder. So those things combined, starting with your consistency, using the community tab, and following up with email. And I would say the same thing with email. 1 email a week minimum, right?
Yeah. And I would say too, I think another key piece in all of that is in the content. I think to build that relationship, you need to be super authentic because what I see a lot, especially now, this is what makes you stand out, is in this little free game for you guys. Right now, go on your feed. You're going to probably see a million thumbnails that are edited like Mr. Beast. You're going to see all this highly produced AI. Like you're going to see all of that, right?
Faceless, yeah.
Right? Scroll through that. And I want you to see, you are going to stop at a video that it's going to catch your eye that does not look like it belongs. It's going to be a guy with his hair maybe to the side and doesn't look good and whatever, and looks so super unprofessional. And title's not even that great. And it's probably going to have a lot of views because right now authenticity is winning in this game, especially for small channels. And the other thing is this, I guarantee he's not going to be reading a teleprompter. He's not going to be, scripting his videos. It's just going to be authentic. And that's what people are relating to now, but have been relating to for 15 plus years. But the thing is that now because we have access to all this other stuff, everyone's trying to compete to be that spot. But in all reality, let them compete. We should be taking another angle because besides even, and this goes back to, we don't need a viral video, besides even, editing these videos to get all these views and stuff, which I don't believe better edits make better views. But building that authenticity, now you're going to build that relationship that's going to overall help your business or your YouTube channel on another level, where even if it's only 1,000 views, we talk about our true 1,000 or our true 100 fans, which we'll explain that in a little bit. I think that's crucial is building that authenticity into your videos. So like right now, if you're like, oh, should I script I hear that a lot. Should I script my videos? Like what teleprompter do you use? Is that none? This is not scripted. The only thing, and again, wasn't even scripted either. The only thing in this video we did different than we usually do is the first 30 seconds we work on that hook. And you didn't read anything. You're just like, I think I want to talk about this. I'm going to try it out. And you tried it like 3 different times and you're like, I like this one the best. We're going to go with that.
Right.
That was it. There was no like, today guys, I'm going to, that's not authentic, right? Like I want to feel what you're feeling. And that's the passion. That's the inflection in the voice that I'm giving out right now. Right. If I'm reading a prompter 9 times out of 10, it's like, I went over there to grow my channel and it helped me. Yeah. And like, no one has that. It's just not there. So free game, if you want to stand out, be authentic, be yourself. And I know it's cliche. A lot of people say that, but it's the truth though. And the fact that you need to have passion behind it. If you're not passionate about making a video, that's probably wrong niche, or you probably shouldn't be
And it
making
doesn't mean
videos.
you got to be excited like this.
No.
It means that if you're talking about someone that went through a bad experience and you're helping someone with mental health, you need that compassion in your voice.
I'll give you an example. If you're into Legos, let's say you're into Legos,
It's Lego, by the way.
or Lego.
It's not Legos, it's Lego.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Dave will correct you.
Dave will correct you.
Yes, he's a friend of ours.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, nice bricks.
Nice bricks.
Nice bricks. Check them out.
That's a free shout out right
Free
there.
shout out, Dave. I'm not going to charge you for that.
No. But anyway, but he's big into Lego. He's big into it, right? Knows his stuff.
Oh, knows it.
And you can tell when he's doing his videos, it's just authentic. Like, he's not over the top. He's not super. I mean, he'll add his jokes here and there because that's how his personality is.
Very dry personality.
It's like it's like dry humor.
Yeah.
But that's him, and people like it. I mean, he's averaging probably 1,000+ views a video, and on a small channel, and it's literally his ideal audience. So that just brings me back to the whole authenticity, right? That's crucial for growing a channel, and especially if you want to stand out in today's time.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. We got past the A, which is the attention. That's what, and again, learned it then, do it now. Same exact approach. We also had another brand, which we'll probably do another episode about, is how we went to $1 million.
Yeah.
Because that, this one here, we're talking about 100,000. The other one, we're talking about $1 million.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do a follow-up on that, and we'll talk about what the differences was to get there. But you're going to realize that a lot of it is the same stuff. It's just to get there, you have to have a few other components there, which stay tuned. We'll do a follow-up with that. But attention, critical. The way to get attention too in a crowded space is to niche down. Secondly, relationship building. Right? And relationship building is everything we talked about: consistency, community, and then also you're going to have your email, which that's going to be a vehicle to show up. Now let's move into the money.
Let's move into the money. And I think before you explain your part of it in the story, can we go through a quick run through of what the possibilities are on YouTube, right? Because right now everyone says AdSense, and that's all I think of. They don't think of
I want you to
else.
pretend there's no AdSense.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting. That would be an interesting thing if we did a experiment and we said, listen, don't try to just get monetized. If you get monetized, you get monetized, but pretend there's no AdSense. Like when I started, there was no AdSense. Let's pretend we're starting back then and let the AdSense be a bonus check. Because that's how we even started this channel. We're like, you know what? AdSense bonus.
Yeah.
Let's not rely on it.
No.
Now, do we want to get there in a record amount of time because we want to basically show like we can get there quicker?
Yeah.
Of course. Like we did that as strategically to say, let's try to get there in 90 days, which we got there in 89 days, by the way.
Yeah, just made it.
Just made it. But we did it because it was a trophy.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that's the business model.
No.
That's not a business model. If you're listening to this right now, let us know right now, did you get started on YouTube because you want to make money through AdSense? And basically, if you're brand new and you're like, AdSense, does that mean YouTube pays you? Yes, that's the money that YouTube will pay you.
Yeah.
Let us know that in the comments. This is going to be a light bulb explosion for you. Because if you are going to only focus on that, it's very risky. And you might realize once you get to monetization, you're like, that's all I'm going to make because the RPMs are so low. No one told me about RPMs.
No.
What's RPMs?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
And just to let you know, if you don't know what that means, YouTube is going to pay you certain amount of money per 1,000. In the gaming niche, which is massive niche, they're making like $3 a 1,000.
Maybe it's like $2.
Right?
I think. Yeah.
So imagine you get a video that does get 1 million views, right? Every 1,000 of those million, you're getting paid $3. In some niches, you're going to get $8. You're going to get $12. I've had my other channel that we grew that was up $25 to $30. I know people that are getting $80, but most of them are getting under $10.
Yeah.
And most of them are getting under $5. So again, you might want to look into your niche and see if anybody else has reported what they're making, because you're going to probably be shocked that it's not as much. And if you do go after a channel that has low RPMs or even higher RPMs of like $10, you still got to get a lot of views.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to take the pressure off and go, I don't need a lot of views. I just need the right views. And if I follow this business model, the 100K roadmap, by the way, 100K in the comments, we'll send you a copy, 18 pages, everything that we're talking about. And again, by the way, if you do go to that link that we send you, you will go to a landing page, you will get on our email list, and that's actually how it works in real time, just to let you know. I want you to pretend there's no AdSense.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. Just take that. There's none. Are you still going to start a YouTube channel? Are you going to? Let us know. If there's no AdSense, are you going to start a YouTube channel? Let us know in the comments. Blow the comments up. I want to see this.
I like that.
All right. So we're going to talk about
so we got AdSense, but we're going to take that away.
Yep.
Okay. There's the other streams of revenue that you can bring in.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk. What's the next one you would go after?
The first one that I would start to target is affiliate marketing.
Perfect. Yep.
Right.
So affiliate marketing, again, if you don't know, you're sending people to either a business's online business, or it doesn't need
a tool,
just a tool. It could be Amazon has their own affiliate program. Like there's certain brands that have their own programs,
and that's where I would start.
Yeah, and
I mean, even Dave with Lego.
Yeah,
he's talking about these Lego builds.
Yep.
Well, those Lego builds are $300-$400. They sell them on Amazon.
Yep.
All he's got to do is put his little link there, and now he can get a commission on every sale that's done through his Lego build. So that's where I would start, is probably Amazon. But outside of that, there's a whole bunch of affiliate programs.
Yeah, and you can get a certain percentage of commission off of that, and you can scale that. I mean, heck, you had from the channel we'll talk about next episode, the 7-figure one. That one, you had one of your tools that over time generated you probably close to $1 million.
It was close,
in affiliate sales.
In affiliate sales,
which is
only
insane.
And that's like what I was paid.
Yeah.
That's not like what was, like, you see these people that get the ClickFunnels plaques, right? They're like, you're in the 2 comma club.
Yeah.
But what they don't tell you is they spent $1 million to make the $1 million on ads, but they still get the plaque.
Yeah.
I still get the plaque.
Yeah.
Tell me how much profit you made on that plaque. It's going to be shocking.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, all right. So we got affiliate. What else you got?
Yeah, so from there, in the order of operation, I would go affiliate stuff. And I would try to find an offer I would try to find one that would pay recurring if could. But in the beginning, it might be hard, right? Your niche might not have something. So for me, in the photography space, like, I was showing people how to build a website for their photography business. So I was an affiliate for Bluehost, which was a hosting company.
Yeah.
And actually, Pat Flynn, a friend of mine now, but I was following him for years. He was making $30,000 a month back then on Bluehost, because he recorded one YouTube video, and it was about 8 minutes long, and showed people how to set up a WordPress site on Bluehost. And he was making $30K a month. So that's kind of what I was looking at. I was like, okay, I'll show people how to set up a website. So that's what I did. And I was doing Bluehost. Then you were doing like WordPress themes, but then you would show people how to build it for a photography site. So you would set your sites on something that could either pay you a pretty good sizable commission or a recurring one. Okay. So that's kind of where I would start. From there, I'd start thinking to myself, how can I create my own thing? Because the other thing is that you run the risk of with affiliate stuff is they can do away with that program. Perfect example is I was promoting a product, and I'm not going to throw them under the bus because I don't want to do that. I still think they're a great company, but I was promoting them, and I was upwards of like maybe $2,000 a month, maybe approaching $3,000, and it was recurring.
Yeah.
They did away with the recurring program, and they said, after this next payment, we're going to, when you sign someone up, we'll do it for 6 months, and then it ends. So I poured all this effort into creating these videos to talk about this. Now, I still love the product, but I wouldn't have put so much energy into it if I'd known that it was going to end. So they could do that overnight, but with your own product, you're in control.
Yeah, you're in control.
So I would go with the first thing, and that's what we did, is we built our own templates. We started with templates.
Yeah.
I started selling them on eBay.
Yeah.
And then I started selling them through my own website. And all of that. But I would do something that was a digital item, whether that's a digital ebook, whether that's a template, or whether that's a workshop that you do. That's a nice light lift kind of easy thing to do. But I would start building my first product, digital product.
Okay, cool. So now let's go to your story of this. So with photography, right? You have the lead magnets, so you have emails coming in, all of that. And okay, what was your first thing that you sold or
Yeah.
whatever to make your first online money.
Yeah. So the very first thing I did, following Jeff Walker's
Yeah.
little plan, it wasn't
Yeah.
a little plan. I paid $2,000 back then
Yeah.
for that, which I didn't have the money, but I threw it on a credit card. So that was like the best investment that I had ever made to this day, because that literally changed my life. But I was basically following what he was saying. Build the audience, keep delivering value. That develops mental, he calls them mental triggers, which is basically, it's your reciprocity, which reciprocity is basically like, hey, you want to help me do this thing? And if you do, I'll help you do this thing. So it's like almost like in human nature, we always want to be able to pay someone back, whether that's to repay the favor, repay with money, whatever. So we basically went ahead and we, I say we, myself and my wife, we were basically creating this content to keep nurturing. And then I started to say, okay, I'm going to develop a course because people were asking about these different things. Can we put something into more of a linear type of thing? So I did. So I said, okay, now what I needed to do is tell people I'm working on this thing, not sure when it's going to be ready. So I'm kind of teasing it along the way. I'm like, oh, we're going to do this, might do this. I don't know when it's going to be ready, whatever. And then you just kept teasing it and teasing it. And you did that for about a month. Okay. And then you said, okay, it's officially ready. I'm going to release this thing. We're going to release it on this day. And we're going to release it with only a certain number of, that we're going to be releasing, or for a certain number of days. In this case, we chose it's going to be open for a certain amount of time. And so we ended up doing that. You were in like 4th grade at the time. You were at bowling. I was the bowling coach, chaperone or whatever. And so I'll never forget the day because we were using PayPal. The only thing we used was PayPal to collect the money. And we basically went ahead and I opened the card at 3:00. I was at bowling. I had a phone call. It wasn't even a text, because I don't even know if you could text back then. It was a track phone. And your mother calls and says, oh my gosh, it's 3:05 and there's like $2,000 in our account. And I'm like, wait a minute. Refresh that again. It's got to be broken or something. She refreshes. She goes, there's 2,500 now. Like, it was literally adding like $200 to $500 every time you would refresh. And long story short, on that day, we probably ended at around $8,000, maybe $9,000. And just to put this in perspective, we were running a photography business at the time. And in our Q4, that was our busiest time because you got the holidays. And we would hope to do 10 grand in 4 months. And then that would carry us a little bit because, it was years ago and we didn't have as much that we had to pay for. But still 10 grand after the end of the season, that would carry us for a couple months. And so anyway, at the end of that, we closed it down, closed the cart, and we ended up doing $12,500. And that day changed my life forever. And I was indebted to Jeff Walker for that. And then that, you go through that was awesome. And then all of a sudden you're like, but was it a fluke? Was it luck? And so then I said, I got to try this again. So we waited about 6 to 8 weeks, did it again, and we did over 20,000 on the next one. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, my life has changed. I'm an online marketer now. I'm a business guy. And now, with that being said, over the next year, we had ups, we had downs, we had ups, we had downs. Then you have the emotion of like, well, what if I can't do this on my next launch and everything? So then I tried saving money, putting it in the bank. And then something really bad happened. Really bad. And I owed the government what I had saved, thinking that I had that money saved because I didn't know any better. Here I was making all this money and I just thought I was making more money. I'm going to go do my taxes and I'll pay my normal taxes. No, so my accountant says, hey, are you sitting down? Because he called me on the phone and I says, yeah. He goes, good. You might want to get yourself a stiff drink too. And I says, why is that? And he goes, because we got to send in 20K. I had 20K exactly in my bank account. So I went back to zero. So I went back to zero and I had to do it again. And I did. I did another launch and did maybe 15. And then that's where I started to kind of lean into, though, I needed more of a recurring. And so then that's where I built my first membership. And from that membership, I was able to again, keep that going, did some launches. And then that's how we were able to do 6 figures consistently for over 6-7 years.
That's crazy. That's the ups and downs. I feel like too, not that you were broke, but a lot of people say that you you know, especially entrepreneurs, that you go from, you know, a lot of them end up going broke, I say, going back to zero at some point where it's like, yeah, you hit the highs, but like you said, then there's dips and then it's highs and dips and highs and dips, but it's learning from each one and then trying to overcome all of that. So that way, once you have those things in place, like you said, you learned about recurring and all that and being like, that's the angle you want to go lean into more because you know that's more stable, right? So like once you learn all that, you had to fail and get knocked down a couple times. That 20K, I know that hurt at the time, but now you're like glad that did, because it put it in a different perspective of how I got to save, how I got whatever, and life lesson, right? Huge. So yeah, that's a crazy story though. Yeah. I mean, obviously I knew this a little bit, but I just kind of recently heard about this a couple years ago. So yeah, crazy. But, and now it's like, that's why you're always telling me too, like, make sure you're saving your money now. Cause
make sure you're putting,
since I'm doing, but I mean, for you, those of you who don't know, I also am a PE teacher, elementary PE teacher. So I do work the 9 to 5, not really, it's like a 7 to 2 or whatever. Right. Great hours, but I work that and then I work this on the side. But right now, you know, I'm doing a little better over here, but I got to save that money, some of that money away for taxes, which I have been doing. But I mean, it's funny to put that, and now it's like, I have to go through that same thing kind of, but except I didn't get hit like you, cause I was prepared because you know, looked out for me. But anyway, all that to say, like, that's the potential where the money can lead from something that was so small. And again, till now, you can go look at that channel, 16,000 subscribers. 16,000. It never got over that. And you had a couple videos over time because of search space that maybe got 100,000.
Although I think I got a couple that are over 200.
200? Yeah. 200,000. But again, till this day, on every channel we've done, even Brand Creators, which is the one that was 7-figure business, also over 100,000 subscribers, some viral videos, nothing hit 1,000. Or sorry, 1,000. Nothing hit 1 million views. We have not had. We've never hit a million view video and still been able to, you know, build businesses off of that are, you know, successful businesses. So all that to say is, like, if you can understand that part of it and say, okay, I don't need, you know, these 100,000 subscribers, these 1 million subscribers, all of that, and just see that if I just focus on, you know, my value that I'm giving, making sure I'm building that audience, building the relationship, and then yes, the money will follow, like you always say, then anything is possible. Telling you anything is possible, and that's what we're learning right now. I mean, we just did it over again on a new channel, right? And in the beginning, did we say it was tough? I mean, heck, let's tell this real quick while we're here. In the beginning, before this channel, so last year, okay, a couple months before this, we started another channel that was only a podcast channel. We got maybe 200 subscribers, maybe one video hit 1,000, but the rest, it was not good. And then we changed our angle, and it wasn't good, right? So originally we were just going to scrap and we weren't even going to do anything. And then we're like, let's just talk about what we're doing on the other channel. And we did that. It took about 2-3 months and then started going. Now we're at, right? And I think it ended up being a little bit quicker than we expected, because the other channel, I mean, we grew that to over 100,000, but that one was, I think it took us a couple years to gain the 70,000 subscribers, right? For this one, I mean, in the first year, we got 30,000 subscribers, which is way faster than the other one.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of like put it into a nice little package here, you know, attention is number one. That's everything that we focus on. And attention without thinking about how am I going to make the money. It's the attention, getting the attention and the right attention. And that's by niching down. The second thing is building that relationship, showing up consistently, whether it's staying consistent on YouTube, staying consistent in the community tab, and then following up with email. And then the fourth is like the first monetization piece is, I think, the affiliate marketing. And that's going to be finding affiliate products that align with your audience. Those are also things you can email your list to say, hey, here's 5 resources that I use. And then from there, start to develop your first digital product. I think that's critical. And then you just rinse and repeat. Keep getting that attention, keep nurturing and building that relationship, and then keep launching either products or making your products better. And that right there can turn into a 6-figure business, which we've done it here on the live video school, but we're also, we're going to build it bigger than that. But with that all being said, that is it in a nutshell. And yeah, that's exactly what we would do and we are doing again. So hopefully this has helped you. All right, guys. So as always, this is going to wrap it up. But remember, we're here for you.
We believe in you.
We're rooting for you.
But you have to.
You must Say it with me. Say it loud. Say it proud. Take action. All right. All right. If you're still here at the end, this is the after hours of the creator's lunch table.
Yeah.
And this is where we are basically seeing who actually stays to the end. Who's the true 100? Who's the true 1,000?
Mm-hmm.
And who's the inside of the creator's lunch table. And so here's what we'd like you to do. And you can even experiment with your own channel in doing this if you're going to do a podcast. So what we're going to do, we do this on every single episode for the podcast, is we want you to say a keyword in the comments. And by us seeing that, we know that you stayed here to the end. Mm-hmm. All right? I see you smiling.
I got one.
So he must have the keyword.
I got one. All right. You're going to love it.
All right.
You ready?
Just bring it on me.
Okay.
What do you got?
I need you to comment muscle shirt.
Muscle shirt.
Because I like your muscle shirt.
That's a Will Ferrell
thing. It's a Will Ferrell thing if you guys know it. But anyway, muscle shirt.
Why not just shirt?
I just think it's funnier.
I think we should do always one word. Why are you going complicated here?
Because it flows better.
Oh, I know what you're saying. So it could be muscle. It could be shirt. You want both?
I want both.
Guys, do either one. If you feel like you want to put muscle in there, and that's
just
it.
So I can.
If you want to add shirt in there, you can do that, or you can do them individually.
Or because I want to win the debate between him, put both. Put muscle shirt, and then I know your team Scotty over here. Okay?
And here's the other thing: is while you're here, right now, this is being recorded on a Tuesday, which is going to air on a Sunday, this coming Sunday, and by then we hope that this guy right here, he's got a kid.
Yeah, hopefully I'm part of the dad gang.
Because his wife is due Thursday in 2 days.
Yeah.
And she's getting a little antsy.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Nothing yet. We kept the phone even on just in case.
Yeah.
So we should have had them just comment baby.
Yeah.
You know, in the comments. See, we should have just had baby in there.
Too late now.
Too late. We already said muscle shirt. So anyway, that's it. That's going to wrap it up. We want to thank you guys for hanging out. If you've been here this long, we really, really, truly appreciate you, and have an awesome, amazing day.